The object which I've chosen as the subject for this evening's talk is in some respects a bit of a cheat, because it's so rich in detail that it seems to do so much of the work itself. This is Peter Brueghel the Elder's dramatic painting of 1562, the Dulle Griet, or Mad Meg, as it has been conventionally translated. Brueghel was, of course, one of the most exciting and original artists of the Dutch Renaissance. He'll be well known to many for his natural landscapes, which are always complex and imaginative, and for scenes of bucolic fun, like the peasant dance or the wedding dance. Mad Meg is an imagined peasant landscape too, but a very unnatural one. It shows a sort of nightmare world, apparently an allegory of hell, ravaged by violence and madness. The two central figures are Mad Meg herself on the centre left, wearing the helmet and breastplate and carrying loot, and a strange female giant on the centre right, straddling the rooftops, carrying on her back the ship of fools. Around them are symbols of disorder and chaos. Eyes are being put out, blinded. A man is trying to scrape a pot with a knife. This is a common emblem of excessive and irrational greed. A horde of wild peasant women is carrying spears and domestic weapons and attacking the armies of hell. And there are demonic, upside-down creatures. A cannibalistic head represents the mouth of hell. A man eating fish, and what appears to be a fat spider wearing a hat. So the painting presents to the eye plenty of bizarre, fantastic detail. More than the Byzantine wedding crown, or the gold strip from the Staffordshire hoard, or the 6th century Syriac lectern, it seems like this object should yield its meaning up to us readily. The artist has surely shown us everything that we need to know. But what on earth is in fact going on? Brueghel himself doesn't help us much with this. His paintings may have contained hidden political or topical messages, but he leaves no record of what they might have been. In fact, when he was dying, he ordered his wife to burn many of the works remaining because they might put his family in danger, because they were controversial in some way. So who is Mad Meg? Brueghel's earliest biographer, writing 40 years after the painting was finished, described it as a Mad Meg pillaging at the mouth of hell, seemingly perplexed and cruelly and strangely attired. Here's a clue. She is busy plundering hell and bothering the demons with her army of women, so she seems to have power over dark forces. Is she a witch? Is she a saint? Or is this just the fantasy of a mad woman? Or perhaps she's a comic image of a nagging woman whose relentless scolding can overcome even the armies of hell. In this talk I look at some of these possibilities to explore what Mad Meg might tell us about the deepest fears haunting Christian society at a time of religious revolution and political upheaval. The hellish scenes in Brueghel's Mad Meg can perhaps be interpreted at 3 different levels: cosmic, political, and domestic. Each of these readings of the painting tell us something different about the history of Christianity in the 16th and 17th centuries. Well, first, it can be seen as an apocalyptic vision of the chaos and disorder of the world at the end of all things, before its restoration to wholeness. In this it takes its place alongside Brueghel's other apocalyptic landscapes, painted in the same year, 1562, the triumph of death and the fall of the rebel angels. The Reformation brought a new intensity to apocalyptic beliefs in the Western Church. Now there was not just a single Western Christendom under the Pope with heretical dissenters, but rival churches, Roman, Lutheran, Anabaptist, eventually Calvinist and Reformed, and after that Anglican, each one claiming to be the one true church, and each one stigmatizing at least some of the others as Antichrist. By 1562, when Mad Meg was painted, the boundaries between the different churches or confessions were hardening. Calvinism was taking hold in France, England, and Brueghel's Low Countries, and different territories were defining themselves in terms of Catholic or Protestant allegiance. All this division and contention seemed to be the work of the devil, and the conviction that the forces of darkness were strengthening in Europe was widespread and terrifying. The early 1560s saw the beginnings of mass witch hunting in Europe, as tens of thousands of women and men were executed for the crimes of sorcery and devil worship. These witches were thought to be part of a massive anti-Christian conspiracy to corrupt everything that was good and fruitful and wholesome. As with the dark terrors of witchcraft and monstrous births in this period, the landscape in Mad Meg is an apocalyptic world turned upside down and inside out, populated by unruly women and deformed bodies. Or secondly, the painting might be a statement about the hypocritical heresy hunting and looting of the Spanish occupying forces in the Low Countries. Under the pretense of attacking hell, the prosecutions of Protestant heretics were really, according to this view, all about attacking property and wealth. This reminds us of a Europe where Catholics and Protestants persecuted each other, often because they wanted to purify Christendom of heresy and uphold the true church and saving doctrine. But sometimes, surely, there were financial and political motives. Suppressing and plundering opponents obviously suited certain interest groups. Finally, Mad Meg might be a domestic allegory, a cautionary tale showing what happens when a woman gets the upper hand or wears the breeches in the household. Some historians have spoken of a crisis of gender relations in this period, directly related to the changes in Christian society brought about by the Reformation. In Protestant countries, the Pope was no longer the masculine spiritual figurehead. In places like England, it was a woman, Elizabeth I, who was supreme governor of the church. The fact that the clergy could now marry, and that women no longer had the option of going into a convent, also changed the status of marriage in the family. The model of a Christian was now that of a family man or woman. In this context, it's possible to trace a rising anxiety about the place of women among theologians and reformers. Hundreds of sermons and textbooks were produced about the correct order of authority in Christian households. Well, what, if anything, can these broad contexts for understanding Mad Meg tell us about our heritage as Christians? These dark episodes in church history surely have lessons for us about human nature. It's in our nature, in our social DNA, to scapegoat others, to see other human beings and groups of people created in God's image as pollutants, corrupting influences, as the source of everything that's wrong with the world. It's in our nature also to abuse power, to be afraid of the powerless and what they might do once they are empowered. This is not just true of Christians, but it has been true of us, and we must, in the name of Christ, the true and only scapegoat, guard against this tendency.